Hi, today we'll be talking about deprivation cravings, what they are and how to avoid them. So I was going to Coffee Bean the other day to meet a great friend for, some nice conversation. And I was really excited to get an ice blended. After all, it was a warm Southern California day, and that's what you do when you go to Coffee Bean. Anybody who knows me knows that I love ice blendeds. However, I had just eaten lunch, and so I was still full from my meal. So I was experiencing this strange phenomenon that was actually quite familiar, that I wanted to want something. Does that ever happen to you where you want to want something? I mean, you may not really want it, but you try to convince yourself that you really want that thing. I mean, it could be a really confusing experience. My clients sometimes get confused about this because they think they know themselves so well and they think they know who they are and what they want. But there's some times when what they think they want, they don't really want. And this could be a real problem because some of my clients, or many people that I know, and I know I used to do this, they would force themselves to eat that ice cream, have those chips, eat the pizza, have mom's lasagna, even when they really don't feel like it. Does that ever happen to you? If that does happen to you, give me some thumbs up, right like, or I agree. And now think about it. How do you feel after you force feed yourself to eat the pasta, the pizza, the ice cream, the chips, the things that you tell yourself you like? Probably don't feel your best. You might feel bloated, zapped of energy, uncomfortable. And what I feel like is the worst part is not only how you feel physically, but how one may feel emotionally. We may feel at odds with ourselves, or stuck, or frustrated that we just can't get this handled. So, if you could relate, please put your thumbs up. I just want to know if this stuff is relatable. So, unfortunately, people think that the obvious solution is to just tell themselves not to get that thing. Like I should have told myself, don't get the ice blended. However, that doesn't work. In fact, that makes things even worse. And I'll tell you why in just a second. But first, I want to introduce myself. My name is Eve Lahijani. I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and I'm passionate about helping women and men make peace with food and their eating, resolving compulsive, emotional, and binge eating issues, and really empowering my clients to make peace with food and make aligned choices with regard to their food, their love, their work, and their life. Because I feel when somebody is aligned with themselves, especially when women are aligned with themselves, they really have the power to change the world. But I really feel that women have to be feeling good, confident, and aligned with themselves to make these changes. So back to my story here, back to me wanting to want this ice blended. And again, in the past, I'd force myself to have that ice blended, or I'd tell myself a hard no, you're not allowed to have that ice blended. I also want you to know this wanting to want something could also show up in the realm of work, with career choice, and it could also show up in the realm of relationships. And I'll probably talk about that in a future video. But in any case, the answer here is not to tell yourself no. Because when you tell yourself no like that, you will create a deprivation-based craving. That's right. You will create a deprivation-based craving where you'll want that thing just because you're not allowed to have that thing. Thumbs up if you could agree, or if you've ever experienced that. Right? Have you ever noticed that right when you start your diet, or right when you tell yourself you can't eat the cookie, that's all you think about is the cookie, right? There's a reason for that. Our brain does that. It's part of the survival mechanism. So it's really key not to create a deprivation-based craving. And I know this isn't very obvious. In fact, I struggled with this for years. I mean, I'd go to a family's house or a friend's house and they'd offer me food, and obviously I'd eat it, and I'd feel full, and I'd come home and I'd eat again because obviously there was food at home that I liked, and that's what you do when there's food that you like, you eat it, right? And so I was so often walking around feeling so stuffed, so bloated, so visibly full. I was just so uncomfortable in my body all the time. But the worst part, the worst part was, I knew myself to be somebody who tries hard. I knew myself to be somebody who was aligned with myself. So this was really confusing of why I couldn't get it down with food. And in fact, when I tell myself, well, don't eat that way, just don't do that anymore, the opposite would occur. I'd have less control and I'd overeat more and more. And this was a total drag because, it was just so frustrating. And again, if you could relate, please thumbs up. So the thing was, I had to learn a whole nother way to relate to food, and I want to share that with you today. I had to learn another way to resolve this issue, and so let me just get my notes out here. I think you'll really like this. So that's what I did, and it's a few steps that I want to share with you here. And the first step here is when you notice this conflict of that you're wanting to want something, but you don't want to create that deprivation-based craving. The first step here is to become present. Become present to what is going on inside of you. And so this is what I did the other day at Coffee Bean, is I became present. I heard that voice inside of my head that was telling me to want the Ice Blended, right? To want the Ice Blended. I also felt that part of my body that was full, still quite full from my meal. I also became present to that voice inside of my head that was telling me that I'd have more fun at Coffee Bean if I chose to have the Ice Blended. Not all of my thoughts were necessarily rational, but I became present with them. And once I became present, my mind became clear. It became more quiet. There was less arguing inside of my head. And then the next step is I gave myself unconditional permission to have the Ice Blended if I really wanted it. Now this is key. This is how you sidestep that deprivation-based craving, is you give yourself unconditional permission to have that food if you're truly craving it. And then that's when I ask myself, how would I feel after I drink that Ice Blended? I love this question. Asking yourself this question is genius, because when you ask yourself, how am I going to feel physically after eating that? It takes the choice out of your head. After all, your head could justify eating anything, right? And it puts the choice in your body. And once I got clear, if I drink that Ice Blended, how will that make me feel in my body? I felt crystal clear. And how would you like that? I got crystal clear that my answer was no. So my question is, how would you like that? How would you like that clarity in making food choices day after day? You could have that. In fact, this process that I just took you through is just one small part of the tools that you get when we're working together. In fact, I spoke to a client just the other day, and when we started working together, she couldn't believe that she could have clarity and peace with food day after day after day. She didn't believe it. In fact, she was rolling her eyes when she first heard about me. But after our work together, just after a few short sessions, she was stunned because she was experiencing peace and alignment with her food and eating day after day after day. So if this is resonating with you, I'm talking to you. If you really are wanting peace around food and you're eating, and you could be eating in a way that's more aligned with yourself, I'm talking to you. So please send an email to me. My email is vitamineve@gmail.com, and just write in the words in the subject line, I'm ready. I'll take the rest from there. I know your life is busy. You have a lot going on. I don't want to add more to your plate. So if this is resonating with you, if you've watched this video to this point, I'm talking to you. Again, email me at vitamineve, VITAMINEVE @gmail.com. and write the words, I'm ready, and I'll take it from there. Because you deserve to have peace with food, making aligned choices, and being relaxed with regard to food and eating. Just imagine what your life would be like if you didn't have to think about food so much. It's incredible. It's unbelievable. And you could have that, and I want that for you. In fact, I'm passionate for it. It's my life purpose. So please email me at vitamineve@gmail.com. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you tools on how to reconnect and realign with yourself and how to avoid deprivation-based cravings. Thank you, much love, and happy eating. Bye.